I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we are taking a closer look at Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows issue number 6. Now that Peter and MJ are doting parents, they have a tough decision ahead of them for the future of their daughter. What'll happen next? Let's hop on in together and find out, shall we? Okay, so as we open up this comic, we get a massive blast from the past. Original 90s animated series Magneto is hunting down Banshee, who has some important information about a mole inside the X-Men. Unfortunately for the Irish Screamer, he never gets a chance to make it back to the X-Mansion, as the Master of Magnetism has other plans for him, dropping a crate on his head. Now, back with the Parker family, it's Peter's surprise birthday party. Pete's pretty amazed that his wife MJ, alongside being a superhero, being a working woman, and being a mother, somehow had time to throw one hell of a shindig and invite all of his friends. And who just so happens to be one of the guests at this party? Well, none other than Professor Charles Xavier. This is huge, actually, because this actually says something about this universe. One, the X-Men are all alive and kicking, which means that this is indeed a little different than the Secret Wars Renew Your Vows, where the X-Men were actually killed first by Regent. Chuck has come to the party with one hell of an offer for Peter and MJ. He wants their young daughter Annie to attend the school for gifted youngsters, which in the Renew Your Vows universe is every bit as awesome as you remember it being, but with some small twists and alterations. For one, Wolverine and Jean are actually married in this universe and have a daughter named Shine. She's only a silly toddler now who can barely speak, but God, you gotta imagine if she inherited her father's healing factor and her mother's mental powers, when she grows up, she's gonna be unto a god. What's really cool about the offer Professor X makes is that it actually leads to quite an interesting dilemma for the Parker family. Obviously, Annie doesn't want to leave her school. She has friends there. But the X-Men's pitch is overall pretty solid. Give Annie a school environment where she can feel safe, mastering her powers and not having to hide who she is from the rest of the world. Surprisingly, it's Peter who latches on to the idea first before everyone. Remember, when he was growing up, school kinda sucked for him even before he had a double life as a superhero he had to protect. And if, say, Annie ever did get caught with her powers at school, it wouldn't just be her that went down, it would be the entire family who went down with her. MJ, transversely, was a popular kid all throughout school, and she believes the exact opposite, that they can't expect Annie to be a well-adjusted human being in the real world if she completely withdraws from human society and goes full-on superhero 24/7, especially considering that, well, she's not really a mutant and it's a school for mutants, but as Wolverine so eloquently puts it, the close-minded, the hateful, and the fearful rarely make distinctions. Surprisingly, MJ finds common ground in Cyclops, of all people, who, get this, in this universe, is a teacher of mutant ethics. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Furthermore, Scott says that MJ might not be totally wrong in distrusting Professor Xavier, especially this new version of Professor Xavier. Apparently in the Renew Your Vows universe, Xavier was able to put an end to the Marvel Civil War before it happened by essentially stepping in to regulate the superhero community, including the mutants, before the government actually could. And while Cyclops says he will always love and respect Charles Xavier, he also adds that his days of trusting him blindly are long over, especially after he ended up losing the love of his life. Must be talking about Emma. It's at this point the school comes under attack by Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Interestingly enough, Annie had another one of her spider sense premonitions before this. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to warn anyone of the impending attack. What's Eric's game this time? You know, the usual: take control of Cerebro, and in doing so, use it to get rid of the human problem once and for all. And he manages to do all this through the help of his mole, Jubilee. Yeah, freaking Jubilee is the rat. Can you believe that? That is amazing. Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 6 was quite simply a stellar comic from start to finish. Not only was it one of the best X-Men stories I've read in I don't even know how long, feeling truly authentic to the mutants back when I loved them the most, and not the way, say, I don't know, most of these new X-Men comics are doing right now, where they're just retreading old ground and trying to wring nostalgia out of it. But, you know, beyond that, it's just a really good story with Peter, MJ, and their daughter, them having to make a really tough decision about her future. It's do we raise her in a public school or a private school, but on a superhero level? I really like it. Overall, it was really great. Jerry Conway has an amazing way with this X-Men cast, and we need like a spin-off with them like yesterday. Not only is Renew Your Vows becoming like a great Spider-Man story in an alternate universe, but it's becoming just like one of the all-time great alternate universes as it stands right now. I give this one a 10 out of 10. It was wicked.